I'm here today to show you our Steadfast Automation system. What is Steadfast? It's a system that we've developed. It's based around a controller that brings together all of the components of a door entry system. So that's the door opener, a lock release system, an intercom, all the varying switches and controls that are needed, together with a door which we can do. So the whole system is a modular system which we can install either as a complete system or as a retrofit utilising existing components. So Steadfast really is a service where we would come along, automate a door, possibly replace it, and we would provide you with all of the associated controls to operate the door. So let's have a look at Steadfast. First of all, I want to show that the door, even without power, can be used in a normal way. You open the door with a key, open the door, and the door will open. It's because of the motor, it's sprung closing, so the door will automatically self-close and lock. We tend to use a multi-point locking system with a motor control. It means that when the door is closed, it automatically throws the latches, so when the door is closed, it's also locked. The lock is retracted by the use of the key on this side of the door, or by the use of just pressing down on the handle on the inside of the door. So in the event of a power cut, the door always has the ability to be opened, albeit you will have the force of the spring on the door opener to contend with. We have solutions for that, which I'll explain a little later. We've designed the door primarily to use a key fob, so this can be used both inside and out. And like any door opening system, it's been designed to, at the press of a button, to open the door. It will pause very briefly because we've set it for a very short delay, and then it closes. Now, with a door entry system, you need it to be able to, ideally, you want to be able to control the door. So we've developed, through the use of the controller, the ability to open the door. While the door's open, we press the button again, the door will now stay open indefinitely. So this allows somebody to stand at the door, or if they're in a wheelchair, to approach the door, talk to somebody at length. Or it may be on a hot day, you just want the door open just to allow the air to flow through. When you want to close the door, you simply press the key fob and the door closes. To give the user a lot more control over their door, we've seen that the door at the moment will open for a very short pause and then close. Under normal circumstances, the timing for this is set within the door opening device, which is mounted above the door. To change the time requires the user to get an engineer out, which would involve cost. The engineer would have to then take apart the door opener, adjust the timing to suit the client, and then they would leave, and hopefully that time would be set. With our system, we've developed a controller which has a microprocessor, and within that microprocessor we can enter a programming mode through the key fob, and we can set the time to whatever we want and whenever we want. To do that, we press and hold the button for 5 seconds. It will go into programming mode. Okay. Do one beep on opening. We hear 2 beeps when the door is open, and the door is now remembering the time that it's been open from the 2 beeps. So when enough time has elapsed, which may be the time you need to go through in your wheelchair, you then press the button. We get 3 audible beeps. That signals that the time has been programmed into the memory, and it's programmed in such a way that even in the event of a power cut, it will now remember that time indefinitely. So just to demonstrate, now when we open the door, it should stay open for approximately 10 seconds before closing. There we have it. Now, we can always set it to a reasonably long time. We can always override this. So if you've opened the door and it turns out you don't need it open, you simply press the button again, the door will close. So already we've demonstrated there are a lot of additional features here that the user has control over the door. Other programming modes that we can go into is, for example, if we send a new key fob through the post, we're able to enter programming mode by using perhaps one of the other controls, and we can put it into a mode that will learn new key fobs. So once it's in that mode, you would simply press this button twice and that key fob now belongs to the system. Typically in the past this would also involve an engineer visit and there would be associated costs for that. So we've found another way of reducing the cost to the user and possibly to authorities who would be maintaining the doors. Then we come on to some of the other means of opening the door. We've already seen we've got the key fob. Typically you would also have an intercom system associated with the door. We've developed our controller so that it will work with just about every known intercom system on the market. It doesn't matter whether the intercom is compatible in terms of voltage or how it works. Our interface system has been designed to take all those things into account. We can use, as we've got here, a simple audio intercom system whereby somebody would just press the button on the outside to call, and then on the inside somebody would pick up the phone, and if they want to allow entry they would simply press the lock release and that would open the door. We can fit any type of intercom system, so it could be audio, it could be video. Provided it has a lock release function built into the intercom, we can interface it to our system. It also means that if a property already has an intercom system fitted, we don't have to replace it, we can utilise what's there. Then we move on to other controls. For example, here we have a numeric keypad. So for this one it's programmed to accept 4-digit code. Trigger the door. This type of control is very good if you have communal entrances, for example, or it may be that you want to control doors both front and back of the property. You can control it either through the numeric keypad. Just override the delay here. Actually, I'll demonstrate another programming function because that is now on a long delay, and for demonstration purposes it's actually not very good. I can put it into programming mode, so press and hold for 5 seconds. Okay, it's in programming mode. Now I press and hold again for 5 seconds and this will reset it to the factory default settings. So the next time I press the button it'll go back to the shortest delay, which I can demonstrate now. Another alternative to the keypad on here, this is a proximity sensor as well, so you just hold up the keypad. Again, very good for user entrances. And hopefully, yeah, we've got it on the short delay. If somebody happens to be in a wheelchair, the proximity devices, although they're useful, may be a little bit difficult for somebody to operate. So for that, we use proximity card and card reader. This is the card reader here. The card would be mounted somewhere on the wheelchair, usually somewhere near the footrest, and as the user goes past the sensor, it will pick up the reader, and it has a range of about 5 inches or around 200 mils. That will trigger the door. So we typically have a card reader in the hallway on the inside of the door, and perhaps another reader on a post or a wall on the outside. And we do that on the approach to the door. We've also got the option of providing custom switches. So these are large, very easy to operate switches that can be mounted anywhere, either on a wheelchair or anywhere in the property, and it would allow the user to, for example, use their head to trigger the door. And this is, as you can see, a wireless device. So not content with these controls, we've also developed, it's called a GSM controller that works with our interface. GSM controller means that it has a SIM card like a mobile phone built into it, so it has a phone number associated with it. To operate, somebody would use their mobile phone to send a text message, and they would use a specific code to trigger the door. So it could be that a family member may want to arrange for a doctor to gain access because their relative is poorly, can't get to the door, and in this way somebody wouldn't have to leave their work, or they can operate it from anywhere around the country just simply by typing in a code into a text message, and that will trigger the door. I'm going to demonstrate that now. Right at the beginning we was talking about what happens in the event of a power cut. When we have a look at our controller, you can see that we have, in this instance, a full battery backup system. Our battery backup is designed to provide battery backup to the entire system. So it takes into account the door opener, the door lock, the intercom system, and any or all of the triggering devices. I need to show how the locks operate. These are quite unusual. On the door lock, this is the multi-point lock that runs down the side. We retrofit this into existing doors, or we configure as part of a new door. But the unique thing with these locks is that there's a button here and also one at the bottom by the hook, so that as the door closes into the frame, the hook is depressed and the latches automatically come out. This is the equivalent of lifting the door handle in an ordinary multi-point lock. The beauty of this system is, as the door closes, both the top and bottom locks are automatically shot out, so the door, as soon as it closes, is now locked.